All right, let's see how you did on this homework. This is going over all the basic exponent rules. So here we have the add rule where you add the two little exponents. Here we have the multiply rule, or like shower the power, distribute it. Everything gets the power of 3. Now why is it the multiply rule? There's technically little invisible ones there where it's 3 times 1 for the exponent. So it becomes 2 to the third, x to the third, which is really 8x to the third. And then on this one, look at everything in parts individually. Notice the x has a negative exponent, so it's going to go down, but the 5 does not. So the 5 stays on top, and the x to the fourth goes down. How'd you do? Now over here we have dividing. Now when it's just coefficients that are dividing, we just do it old school, so negative 15 divided by 3 is just negative 5. But then the exponents are going to subtract on this one. So 6 minus 2 becomes x to the fourth. Over here, you could stretch it out twice in expanded form, or just do 7 squared over 3 squared, which is 49 over 9. Everything here is also squared. Again, feel free to do it into expanded form if that helps you visualize it. But it's really negative 4 times negative 4, which is positive 16. And then these two little numbers become x to the 10th. You can visually see the x to the 5th and the x to the 5th that becomes x to the 10th. Over here in the multiply rule, 4 times 1/4 essentially becomes just 1. So this becomes x to the power of 1, or just x. Over here, anything to the power of 1/2, it's like saying the square root of that anything. So square root of 81 over 25 can be broken down into the square root of the numerator over the square root of the denominator, which is just 9/5. Same rule applies here, where it can be broken down into the square root of 36 times the square root of 16, both in their own houses. And the square root of 36 is 6, square root of 16 is 4. Final answer can be simplified. So just a quick reminder on those exponents. Those are not going to show up on this test, but you have to have the general idea of exponent rules in order to multiply binomials and trinomials. Write each polynomial in descending order. That just means the greatest exponent down to the lowest exponent. Coefficients do not need to be taken into consideration, just the exponents. So the x squareds are going to go first, then the 8x's, and then the plus 4. There's my descending order. Here, the negative d to the third goes first, then the d squared, then the 9d's, and then the constant plus 1. Classify each polynomial based on its degree and number of terms. This is a 2-word answer. The first word has to do with its how many terms it has. And so this is a binomial because it has two terms, and this is a trinomial. And then what degree? You could say of the third degree, or it's also known as a cubic. Over here, this is a degree of 2. So the second item has to do with the degree. 2-part answer. Another name for a second degree is a quadratic. All right, simplify this. That just means combine any like terms if there are any. Notice here we have 5a squareds and we have negative 9a squareds. So they're already grouped together, and we're essentially just looking at the coefficients to combine. So 5 minus 9 is negative 4a squared. And we're done. There's nothing to combine with the plain a's, the 4a's. Over here, I have x squareds and x squareds. And I have x's that are going to go with x's, and then I have constants that are going to go with constants. So negative 6 plus 3 x squareds is just negative 3x squareds. 8 minus 4 x's just becomes 4x's, and negative 2 plus 1 just becomes negative 1. Now I know that many of you do not need this middle step. You can just look at this and say negative 6 plus 3 is negative 3x squared. 8 minus 4 is positive 4x. Please note that the x squared, the exponent here, does not change. If I have negative 6x squareds and I have 3x squareds, I now have how many x squareds? This term stays the exact same when you're combining like terms. On the next page, we're doing something that's slightly more difficult because it is subtracting, which means that you need to be careful of the signs. So the front stays the exact same. We're just taking it out of parentheses. And then the back becomes minus 5h squared plus 7h minus 12. And now we can combine. The negative 5h squareds and the negative 5h squareds make negative 10h squareds. The negative 7h's and positive 7h's, notice that those cancel each other out. They zero out. The 4 minus 12 becomes minus 8. How'd you do? On this next one, we're going to rewrite 7u squared plus 3u plus 2 just as it is. And then here the signs change. Minus u to the third, minus 6u squared, minus 4. That negative distributes to all. How many u to the thirds do I have? Only this one. 7u squared and negative 6u squared just leaves me 1u squared. 3u has nothing else to combine with, so it's just left alone. And then 2 minus 4 makes negative 2. How'd you do? Now we're multiplying binomials. You are welcome to use the FOIL method. First, outer, inner, last. And then don't forget to combine like terms. First, outer, inner, and last. Be careful of the signs. Combine middle terms. That would be the FOIL method or distribution. The second possible method would be for you to use the box method. You may use either method on the test. It's your choice how you do your work. The box method, 4 times 2 is 8, negative 14x plus 12x minus 21. And remember that we still combine the middle terms, they just show up kind of diagonally here in the box. And so negative 14 plus 12x is a negative 2x. There's my combined middle term, final answer. Now when it's one of these that's a little bit bigger, I definitely prefer the box method, and I recommend students use the box method to keep it all straight. So this becomes 2x to the third minus 4x squared plus 9x minus 12x squared plus 24x minus 54. And again, you've got these diagonal middle terms that you're going to be combining. So we're left with 2x to the third minus 16x squared how'd you do? Last but not least, it wants us to create an area model, a diagram, with a square that is extended by 2 inches on one side and 4 inches on the other. So here's my square of x by x, extended by 2 inches on one side and 4 inches on the other. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so here's my extended by 2, here's my extended by 4. And then we're going to fill this in. My factored form has the factor x plus 2 shown on this side and x plus 4 shown on the other side. And then we fill this in, x times x. 1x and 1x makes a total of 2x, total of 4x. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we could FOIL this, but we can see right here in the area model that it's x squared, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus 6x, plus 8. And again, it says to write the area as a product and a sum. Here's my product, here's my sum. How'd you do on that review? See if you're ready for the test.